Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the PlayStation GL, also Premier Sim Gaming League's YouTube channel. And it is time for round number 7 of the PS F7 Championship. Welcome to the Jeddah Corniche Street Circuit here in Saudi Arabia, the fastest street circuit in the world, and it plays host to round number 7 tonight. My name is Jake Warrior. I'll be guiding you through tonight's action, and as well, just to let you know, this race and indeed this channel is now sponsored by Grid Rival, a new Formula 1 fantasy league game that has unmatched research tools, simple team management with a new contract system, detailed performance data, and loads of engaging social features. Head over and join our PSGL league on Grid Rival by using the affiliate link in the description below. And of course, before we have the race tonight, which is 25 laps long around this track, we have an 18-minute qualifying session to be getting on with. So here we go, the driver's just starting to head out onto the track. 27 turns make up this track, got 16 to the left and 11 to the right. It is one of a few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar, 3.83 miles long. But due to the average speed that you do around the course of a lap, it's not a very long lap compared to how long you would imagine it would be. The fastest lap here, obviously set last year in the inaugural running of this race, set by Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes on a 1:30.734. Of course, that race had a lot more involved in it than just that. Quite a chaotic one, and there's absolutely no reason at all why we should expect anything different from these 20 drivers tonight. It's great to have a full grid of drivers. We have got a few reserves stepping in, but nevertheless, it should be a very entertaining one indeed. And let's just see, there should be some drivers already getting pretty close to starting a lap. In fact, I believe we've got Josh Sidney. Yep, Josh Sidney, who wasn't racing last week, is back in the car this week. And we'll see how he gets on in the Williams car. A quick recap on last week's race. It was Raggy who took his second win in consecutive races. He hadn't scored any points up to that point, but took back-to-back wins. He actually only finished 4th on the road last time out in Austria, but due to the 3 drivers in front of him picking up penalties, he actually inherited the win across the line. It was a very tight finish. We had Luca in second for the Haas team, with the podium positions completed by Sick Boy in the Mercedes, who actually got my Driver of the Day award. It'll be interesting to see if he can back that up with another solid performance tonight. We've got a few drivers out there on the medium tyres to begin with. Not too uncommon, that one. Josh has invalidated his lap, so we will go and see who else we can pick up. Not Kev, because he is brought out the yellow flag. He has had a spin. Let's follow Ramazan in the AlphaTauri car. Another driver who picked up solid points last time out and has been a pretty consistent driver so far without really getting the headline results that would put him up right at the front of the championship. Currently we've got Smalley leading the championship by 21 points after he got 4th place again last week. He's got 21 point lead over Leroy, who was running towards the front of the field for the majority of the race last week, but unfortunately things just didn't go to plan and he ended up ultimately not scoring. Ramazan Evans just coming up to the final turn of this 27 turn lap. It is officially 27 turns, but I can absolutely categorically say that you barely notice probably about 10 of them due to the smallness of them. Ramazan sets the benchmark of 27.3, and Smalley immediately goes behind him. Bremer has invalidated his lap, so we won't see what he will do just yet. Let's follow Harman and the other Aston Martin. A driver who was having a great race last week until I unfortunately may have led to his demise by cursing him. About a few seconds before it all went wrong for him, we got another yellow flag out there. I think that's just at the final corner. Maybe some drivers giving each other a bit of space. And look at these. Some of these corners here count as turns and you just barely notice them. The speed that you carry through some of these corners, that's proper on the limit of track limits right there, but he gets away with it. And now into sector 3 and heading down towards turn 27. The final turn, of course, a turn that's most infamously known for Max Verstappen crashing into the wall on the exit after what had that up to that point been a very impressive qualifying lap, but it only counts as a fully impressive lap if you finish it off. Harman goes second, less than a tenth of a second behind Mosey, so not a bad effort there really when the Aston Martin driver. And expect those first few corners of the laps to be quite prime for some overtaking. In terms of a few changes to this one, in terms of maybe normal rules, as her 16 Rod goes into 7th. We'll follow the Architect around now, who I believe is a reserve stepping in tonight. Yes, he is. He's stepping in the Alpine. We've also got Boss Wanted in the AlphaTauri and Bo in the Ferrari. So we've got a few reserves stepping in tonight in place of a few of the usual drivers who are unable to attend. Architect goes 8th. Quickest on a 28.0. He'll be hoping for more than that. This is really a track that I think can divide the grid, both in terms of how much they like it and also in terms of lap times. We saw how close the lap times were last time out in Austria, but that's such a short lap. This is the longer lap, and I feel like some drivers, probably even up to now, are still not entirely comfortable with the feel of this track. So you could really see some real differences between lap times here, and you'll probably get a pretty good evidence early on as to who actually enjoys this track. Raggy then on the throttle, the winner of the last 2 races, and he goes to provisional pole on a 26.9. That's confidence. Winning breeds confidence, and that he's taken that forward so far into this one, and he's set the pace, but it is super close right now, and we are still in the early stages of qualifying. Sick Boy has invalidated his lap. Have we got Boss Wanted still pushing? Let's have a look in the AlphaTauri. See the speed take for some of his corners. Oh, a bit of a nervous turn in there. Don't think he's on a quick lap. We'll just see what his second sector time says. He's coming towards the end of the second sector now. Yeah, he's not on a push lap at the moment. Mosey then on the front row alongside Raggy, Harman, Bremer, Alberto there complete the top 5 at the moment. Still a lot of drivers you would say that haven't shown their hand, and will be interesting to see what they can do. Going to follow Tiz Leroy around. He was very quick last week in Austria. Ultimately, though, there was a collision that sent him out the points. That did go to the stewards, but was ruled as a racing incident, so no further action. I suppose, if you will, it's kind of similar to a few incidents we've seen at turn 4 in Austria, where it's easy to just push the other car out onto the gravel trap and run them out of road. But of course, if you're not ahead of them going into the corner, then you know there's every risk that that can happen. It's hard racing, but it is within the rules, depending on the circumstances. But Leroy looking to bounce back, and I suspect he'll be one of the front runners once again. He's a very, very quick driver. Just quickly looking to see in the chat. So one person commented saying they love this track. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, in terms of entertainment last year and in previous league races that we've seen here, particularly the PC race that I saw some of last week on PSGL, just utter entertainment. Great to watch. It's wonderful to watch the cars around this track, and it is a real challenge for the drivers. You can't leave any time on the table. You can't leave any width of the track to use. You've got to use every bit of a track to get the lap time, and it really is about rhythm, consistency, and you'll be rewarded if you can extract the maximum out of the car. It's not a traditional street circuit. Obviously, when you think of street circuits, you think of Monaco, you think of Singapore, quite slow technical tracks where overtaking is difficult. This is completely different to that. Oh, and just wanted the rear end of that Ferrari, just wanted to unstick itself there, but Leroy gathered it up nicely. And we'll go on board with him now as he ends sector 2. Runs it right out to the exit curb, and now there's a few kinks that count as corners here, but essentially from turn 21 all the way down to turn 27, it's flat out, and you just got to pick your braking point. He'll try and use a bit of a slipstream off twosome. And here he goes into that corner, hits the apex nicely, much better than what we saw with Raggy in terms of getting the car turned in. Does it translate to lap time? Just P10 at the moment I'll be hoping for a bit more than that, but it is his first lap time on the board as Kev runs a bit wider. You can see him using all the track, and that is, well, it looked to me like all four wheels quite clearly over, but the game says it's okay. I think he may have backed out anyway. So we're now following Monty round. It was 58.1 middle sector for Leroy, so we'll get an idea of Monty's at. Monty's a few times quicker, so this is the sort of lap that could challenge sort of towards the top 5 depending on how his final sector goes. Monty was a reserve last week, but he's now a full-time driver. He's replaced New Jersey in the Red Bull, so we'll be seeing a lot more of Monty going forward, and that's interesting to see how he does. So he's had a few races under his belt already this season. He's got 10 points to his name. He got a podium in Zandvoort, but couldn't follow it up with any points last time out. He goes 6th for now with a decent lap time, but Smalley now out on the soft compound tyre goes up to 4th. So our championship leader putting it up towards the sharp end of the field. We've got Sick Boy now in the Mercedes, a podium sitter last time out, and now it's a clear invalidation there for him, so that won't be doing anything for him as Mosey goes to the top of the timesheets. And we'll see if Raggy can respond to that. He's just still at the kind of at the start of his lap, but Mosey going a 10th quicker than a 26.8 for the Alfa Romeo driver. Again, Mosey only got 6 points to his name, and I think I said this last week. Surprise, really, because the pace is definitely there. We saw it at Austria, and we're seeing it again here. He's got the pace to get a lot more out of that, a lot more points to his name than what he currently has. But it's all about recreating it over 25 laps, and also sometimes you need a bit of luck, and that's invalidation from Raggy. So he won't be improving on this time around. Bremer's done a slightly better first sector, so we'll see how the Alpine driver goes around. But he's also, that same corner's proving to be quite a challenge for these drivers. Want to carry as much speed as possible, but the track limits are just there waiting for you. Boss Wanted looks like he may just have finished a lap, but I'll just see if his first sector showing some improvement. It doesn't matter anyway, he's invalidated. It looks like he was going for another lap, but no improvement to be found. But there is a better lap here for Harmon, and this could be provisional pole position. Round the final corner he goes. He may get a slight slipstream from that McLaren that's going into the pits. Harmon, across the line he goes, and it is a 126.7, 1/10 advantage over Mosey at the front, and the Aston Martin goes to provisional pole. You could tell from the middle sector it was looking very strong, and that is a good lap time. And exactly what he needed after what has been thus far a pretty frustrating season. Just a 1-point finish at Monaco. So he's got previous to the street circuit in terms of scoring points. Very different, of course, in terms of layout, but maybe the street circuit layout is what suits him. Luca, I wonder if he's going to be on another lap. He's currently down in 18th, quickest. Second place last time out, and one of the main protagonists in the championship fight. One of the people most likely to take the fight to Smalley, so he'll be open for a lot more than where he currently is. But he's invalidated. He was 6 tenths up through sector 1, but that won't count for anything now. Just ran a bit too far out wide. Kev about to start his lap. He may have nudged a wall there in the exit of the final corner. I hope that's not damaged his car too much, but we're following round his lap to see what he can do. Braking now down for left-hander at turn 1, then straight into turn 2. Get on the power. The rear end of the car's fighting all the way, and then the small kink at 3. Leading all the way down to the left-hander at 4. Really got to chuck it in, carry as much speed as possible. Ooh, fighting that Aston Martin all the way through the corner. And just look at the speed he's taking through there, but the rear end of that car does not want to stick into the tarmac. That's about 3 or 4 times on this lap he's been battling the rear end of the car. Every time he puts the power down. That does not look like a nice car to drive at the moment. Maybe some setup work needed, or just maybe a slightly different approach needed, but right now that car looks a real handful, and it's going to be difficult to get a fast lap out of that and a consistent race pace going when the rear end of a car is fighting you like that. Kev coming towards the end of sector 2. What's his sector time looking like? It's not strong, is it? It's off what he would need, really. Sick Boy's invalidated, so we now look to, I'm going to go with Smalley, see how he's coping. Some support for Aston Martin in the chat. Certainly one of the Aston Martins looking very strong at the front of the field, but Kev in the sister Aston Martin looking like he's got a real problem controlling that car. He has completed that lap that he was on, but it's way off the kind of pace you'd be looking for some of the invalidations we've seen through that turn up to now. The yellow flag in sector 1, I don't know if that's a spin or I think that's just people taking it easy on their outlet. We're less than 2 minutes from the end of qualifying here, so you know, these are pretty much going to be the last laps for most of these drivers. So the last chance really to hook this up. And he's got a bit of traffic in front of him, Josh. He'll be hoping that AlphaTauri stays well out of the way. And Josh comes round the final corner then. What lap time is this going to be? Up to P4. Just checking that the internet broadcast was still working. I had a bit of a notification code tell me otherwise, so just making sure that I believe we're still live. So that is good news. If we're not, then I will have to restart the stream. Smalley then round the final sector, then this will be his last attempt. Josh moved up to 4th in the Williams, so both Williams currently on the second row of the grid, looking pretty strong at the moment. What can our championship leader do? Keen to extend that 21-point lead he has in the championship. This will be his final attempt in qualifying. Smalley, across the line he goes. And it's only good enough for 5th. I thought he might move a bit higher than that, if truth be told. Mosey's not on a quick lap. Baz Bremer found through the final sector, then currently P7 for the Alpine driver. And looking for improvement, but he has backed off it. He's going to go for one more lap by the looks of it. Let's follow Raghibam really throwing that Williams into this racetrack, and it's paying him dividends at the moment. 1/10 open. Bremer in his attempt to sort of get started on another lap has missed a checkered flag, so he won't be improving on his lap time. Raggy then just getting ready now for the final few corners. Here we go, turn 27. This is all important. You want to get that power down as cleanly and sweetly as you can. And looks like he has done. He had to avoid a car on the exit there. But Raggy up to the line was P4. This is good enough for pole with 1:26.5. A great lap right at the death for qualifying. Exactly what he would. He goes up to 3rd. So showing some more pace. The championship leader Smalley now down to 7th, and there's still drivers out there who will be improving. Mosey through. He was 4th, Mosey. He stays 4th, and you feel like that exit from the final corner was what cost him in the end. And I just wonder, I don't think there's anyone out there now who's on a better lap, so I think that's it for qualifying. That's your pole sitter. Raggy, after winning the previous 2 races, is on pole here at Saudi Arabia. I tell you what, if this form continues, he could still be a championship contender going forward. Be keen to find out why he had so many struggles at the start of the season, but he's absolutely flying now. Takes pole position here. Harmon joins him on the front row. Leroy 3rd, Mosey 4th. Smalley down in 7th, but based on what I've seen from him, he's not statistically the best qualifier, but he tends to drag out good results in the race. So he's still there or thereabouts, and you know, with Saudi Arabia, the potential for safety cars, the potential for incidents, qualifying here probably means less than what it would mean at probably about 60-70% of other tracks. So we'll see how he gets on. Alberto there completes top 5. Josh in 6th. We've got Ramazan, Bremer and Bo completing the top 10. Let's have a look down the rest of the field then, just to see, are there any real surprises? Sick Boy, who was on the podium last week, only 16th. Luca, Luca, one of our probably main championship protagonists, only 19th for him. A 28.6, 2 seconds off of pace. He was on medium tyres, but couldn't get it together. Her 16 Rod only 18th. Maybe would have expected a bit better from him. Kev, we rode on board of him for a lap in the Aston. Car looked really, really twitchy. Wouldn't be surprised if he's made some adjustments to the setup in preparation for the race, because that looked pretty undrivable from my view. So F7, of course, if anyone who's new to PSGL and how it works, just to let you know that this is the top tier in the league. A top tier on the site that runs just a racing line assist only. F1 to F6 on the PS side all run no assists. You are allowed to run racing line in this league. And also, if you're really, really new to PSGL, then just to let you know as well, this is on equal performance, so all the cars are the same speed. You know, there's no anyone wondering if there's a Haas up there or Williams up there. You know, that's quite normal. So the race soon to get underway. Expect a lot of quite crazy, and there was quite a field spread in qualifying, probably about a second really separating the top sort of 15 drivers, which is more than you would normally expect as they set off on the formation lap. Just to let you know, remind you as well that we are now sponsored at PSGL by Grid Rival, and to let you know that they're a new Formula 1 Fantasy League game that has unmatched research tools, simple team management with a new contract system, detailed performance data and loads of engaging social features, and we do have our own PSGL League on Grid Rival, and if you want to join that, you can do so by using the affiliate link in the description below. And of course, if you are enjoying this race and any of the other races that are currently going on, F2, F3 and F4 are all currently in action as well, make sure to leave a like on the video and on the live stream, and all the others too. And if you haven't subscribed to PSGL yet, then firstly, what are you doing? But secondly, get right on that, because we've got so many great races to come over the course of this season, and we're only really at half distance of the season now, so plenty of great racing still to come, and the majority of the tiers at PSGL are live streamed, so there's a lot of races to choose from. So yeah, plenty of action coming up. In terms of the starting tyre for these drivers, obviously those in the top 10 are locked in on the softs. Outside top 10 we've got a real mix, to be honest. We've got 6 drivers opting to start on mediums with the rest on softs. Now in a normal dry race, which I don't know 100% if this is going to be a dry race, but based on the difference in tyre selection, you would almost guess that that is the case. In a normal dry race, it is a one-stopper. You can quite comfortably do that on the tyres, soft to medium or medium to soft, depending on your starting tyre. It is very much doable, and you've got Zach, Tusum, Boss Wanted, Her 16 Rod, Luca and Kev all opting to start on the mediums. Like I said, safety cars are going to play a big part in this. You'd be shocked if there aren't any safety cars in this one, due to the nature of this track, and depending on the timing of a safety car, that could come into play for those starting on mediums, or it could not. The drivers then lining up on the grid, then preparing for 25 laps of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. One Alpine very much out of position there. I believe that's the architect, but he will line up, and then we will be ready to start round 7 of the PSGL F7 Championship. Just waiting for the lights to come on now. Here we go then. And when the lights go out, we will be underway here in Saudi Arabia. We are go, go, go. And it's a fantastic start from Raggy. Looks like he's got the jump up. Harman's going to go up the inside into turn 1. They go side by side through turn 2. Looks like Raggy keeps hold of the lead, with Leroy joining in on the battle. They're almost 3 wide there, but looks like Raggy's got the advantage. We have incidents further down. Looks like Her 16 Rod, Sick Boy and Wrench have dropped down the field, and we have a virtual safety car already, and it looks like Leroy has been involved in an incident, if we can get on board with him. Yeah, it was like some serious issues there. Doesn't look like he's got any damage, but started obviously down up in P3, was challenging the top two, and for whatever reason it's gone wrong for him, and we actually have had it upgraded now. It was a virtual safety car. We now have a full safety car, and I mentioned we were going to see safety cars tonight. Well, it's taken pretty much less than half a lap, and we've already got one. So kind of backs up what I was saying. Let's have a quick look. And hopefully there's no drivers towards the back of the field that have damage. It looked like there was some drama going on further down the field, and a shame for Leroy, who again has put in a quick qualifying performance but has had early dramas. Doesn't look like there's damage on his car. There may well be, but if there's not, then there's every chance he could come through from 14th in the field. But yes, we're under safety car conditions here. Raggy did a fantastic job to keep the lead at the start. He was under immense pressure from the Aston Martin behind, and it was all very clean and fair from what I saw at the front. Maybe a little bit less so further down, but nevertheless, let's have a quick look then. Oh, and we've got Harmon in the pits. Has he got damage on his Aston Martin, or is this a tactical pit stop? I'd be surprised if it's tactical, because he's running up in P2. Let's have a look. There's got to be a... Oh, it is tactical. This is a tactical move from Harmon in second place. He was going for the lead at the start, but he's making a tactical change on lap 2 to go onto the hard compound tyres. Do they go to the end from here? I don't... maybe with a few safety car periods they may do, but they are 1.7 seconds slower than the soft tyres and about 6/10 slower than the mediums, so an unusual choice to make, really, I would say. Given the position he was in, it's maybe a option you would see other drivers down the field choose, as Leroy, Sick Boy, Wrench and her 16 Rod also make pit stops. They may well have come in due to damage. The majority of them going for medium tyres, with the exception of Sick Boy, who goes onto the hards as well. Yeah, that's a confusing decision, I have to say, from Harmon. Running in such a strong position, I don't really understand the need to make that gamble. But who knows, maybe it pays off for him later on. Maybe I'm in the wrong on that one, and maybe it will pay off for him later on. You never know. But he's thrown away that position on P2 on the road, which is now taken up by Mersey. Let's have a quick look at position changes from the start then. See Raggy leading away from like first place. Smalley, the championship leader, making up 3 places. He's up to 4th, as is Monty from 11th to 8th. Zach and Twosome also making up some good ground. Boss Wanted up 5. And then Luca and Kev, although it says they're up 5, they've mainly capitalised on pit stops from those behind, so they've sort of kept themselves out of trouble, and that's led them further up the field. The only person who's lost any positions outside the top 15 is Architect. He's down 1 place. That may be due to his tyres maybe not being so up to temperature, but you'd think with the fact that he was the last one to line up, he maybe would have had better tyres. But here we go, and we're under the safety car conditions there. The race leader Raggy did a great job at the start, and he'll have to repeat that when we get back underway once again. All the drivers are caught up already to the safety car, so I suspect it'll be in at the end of next lap, or the end of the current lap, should I say. We're on lap 3 now. And yeah, we didn't have many corners under green flag conditions there, so it'd be good to get some racing laps under our belts. I think Raggy overall will be very happy with how his race is developing. But yeah, Leroy, the current closest challenger to Smalley in the championship, already having problems. That's not what he needs. Luca running in 14th, Leroy 17th. They're the closest challengers to Smalley, so right now he'll be very, very happy with how this race is panning out. But there's a very good chance here, depending on how the race goes, of course. But as things stand, if things stayed as they are now, which is obviously very, very unlikely, we've got a long way to go. But Raggy would potentially be second in the championship, which, considering 3 rounds ago he didn't have any points at all, is just incredible. And really, this is the place you'd want to be in the lead at Saudi Arabia. The last thing I think any driver really wants at Saudi Arabia is to be in the middle of the field, fighting away. It's so easy to knock a front wing off, and you don't really particularly want to go side by side through some of his fast corners. Although it is very doable depending on the skill level and respect given between them. We should be back underway very shortly now. We're into sector 3 now, and it should be saying safety car in this lap because there's no reason for it not to, and the safety car is in this lap. And then Raggy will become the effective safety car and will choose when to bolt. And he will try and catch Mosey out, who has found himself once again in a very good position. Safety car already pretty much round the final corner, so really the choices from Raggy here, and this is a really poor camera angle I have to say, but nevertheless, Raggy, here we go, he's going to go now. There's absolutely no reason for him not to, but again, he's slow out the final corner, so I think he's going to try and catch him napping, but he's going to have to be very careful how he does this, otherwise he may get caught out, and we're back underway here at Jeddah, and he does actually nail the restart pretty well, but further down we've got Smalley trying to take P3 away, and he does so. So Smalley already up to P3 past Alberto. Leroy is out of the race. He's retired in the pit lane. I don't know what happened, but the driver running second in the championship is out of the race. Bo is struggling further down, so it's a double disaster for Ferrari. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3, but that's for Leroy, and Smalley already up to third and making great progress as he now looks at the back of Mosey. So you can see once again his racecraft coming through and him gradually building his way up through the field. We've got Bremer looking at a potential move on Ramazan, but thinks better of it. Through turn 13, and now very much the technical part of the lap. It's going to be difficult for some of these drivers to follow closely through this section. See the speed that they're carrying. Even on race fuel, it's going to be an absolute roller coaster through some of these corners. Raggy leading them away. He hasn't dropped Mosey at all, which would have been his aim. Of course, DRS not in operation as of yet, but in a few laps' time that will be the case. And Bremer's already got a penalty for multiple warnings. Just like in Austria, time penalties for corner cutting are going to be an issue around here, and if you can avoid them, you've got a better chance of an excellent result. Luca already making his way up to P11 further down the field. And we've got a problem for Josh here. He's had a poor restart. He was running in 5th when the safety car came in, but he's now down to 8th. I don't know if he's got damage or just maybe had a bit of a slow restart. He's trying to come back at the Red Bull driver, but Monty covers that off, and Monty then hits the back. It looks like a Bremer. He may have got some front wing damage from that, just too late on the brakes. And he's going to struggle now to keep the Williams behind him. Let's have a look. Oh, and there's the contact between the pair of them. How on earth did Josh keep that in a straight line? It looked for all the word I was going to lose the rear end of the car, but that's not ideal at all, and it just got a bit messy there. Monty running into the back of Bremer and then coming under attack from Josh, and they went side by side into a turn where really it's going to be very difficult to pull that off. Credit to them for trying, and thankfully they're both still facing the right way, which you really wouldn't have expected. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. Looks like Wrench has had a problem further down the field. Looks like he's recovered it pretty quickly though. Mosey right at the back of a race leader. Raggy's attempts to pull clear haven't really worked as he would have liked as we go through turn 21 now and into sector 3 now, and this is a good chance to pick up a slipstream here if you want to use your ERS deployment. This is not the worst time to do so. And Mosey could be in a position to attack the race leader into turn 1. Here we go. We're just building up speed, but the straight is just going to run out just in time for the race leader, but he's under serious pressure from the 2 cars behind him. He can't break away as he maybe would have hoped. Mosey determined to keep tabs on the Williams driver, does not want to let him scamper down the road. Look at the speed they're carrying through his corners. It's incredible to watch. DRS will be open pretty shortly, I imagine, but there's not really enough of a straight there for him to make an impression. It's the top 4 now, you would say, just slightly pulling a gap to Ramazan behind, who is just losing tab slightly. Monty definitely is. Of course, they had an issue. They had their own sort of issue further down the field Luca making his way up to 11th. He's second in the championship at the moment, so it's crucial that he tries to get up the field, as Zach is the second driver to pick up a penalty for exceeding track limits. Let's go on board with Alberto actually to see how he's doing. He's the one at the back of his sort of leading group of cars at the moment. Although Ramazan is potentially going to make that a five-way scrap. He's just hanging a bit further back at the moment. Mosey, look how close Mosey got to the back of that Williams, and surely this is going to be a good opportunity. He's deploying his ERS. This is going to be his attempt to try and grab the lead from Raggy. Mosey goes down the outside, and I don't think the Williams driver has much of a defence. No, he doesn't. Just with the DRS and the slipstream, Mosey takes the lead of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and we do have a change for the leaders. Bramer speeds in the pits. As he comes into the pits, he's already got one penalty for corner cutting. That will not be doing him any good whatsoever. And we've got, oh well, Bramer's actually decided, I don't know if it was based on the penalty he got in the pit lane, or his pit lane penalty was part of his issues, but Baz Bramer has called it a day. He's our second retirement of proceedings. The Alpine driver would have hoped for more tonight. Boss Wanted picks up a penalty now, and it'll be interesting now to see if Mosey can make a break for it out front. It's very easy to, or it's easier to do the chasing. But all of a sudden, when you become the one that's being chased, it can be a lot tougher to actually go at the speed perhaps you thought you could. Maybe behind Raggy, he thought he had a bit more extra pace. It's all getting super close. These two have been at it for a few laps now, and Monty right behind Josh. It looks like Josh has actually gained that place now, but Monty's having absolutely none of it. These two are getting cut adrift from the leading sort of 5 cars. And nothing her 16 Rod, he was having connection issues earlier. He's left the session. He's still in the race, so that's not something he's done deliberately. I suspect that's a potential issue going on there. Smalley. Oh, and Smalley's round! The championship leader, Smalley, is round at turn 2. Looks like there was contact between himself and Mosey round turn 1. And Smalley goes for a spin, and not what he needed. He will not have got damage from that, but he has lost valuable track position down to P7 where he started. And unfortunately only caught the latter end of that, but just looked like maybe there was just a bit of contact there and was enough to send the McLaren into a spin. Alberto now promoted to 3rd with Ramazan behind, and it's allowed Raggy just to pull it out a bit further in front. And I wonder if actually, well, this is a strange one. Raggy's back in front. Obviously Mosey took the lead from Raggy on the previous lap, so obviously Raggy's got back at him down the pit straight, and I wonder if Smalley's tried to go past Mosey at the same time, and that's maybe what's happened there. Unfortunately, until I hear from the drivers after the race, won't really know the full details of what happened. Nevertheless, though, it is now Raggy back in front, Mosey into 2nd. Small, you imagine, will be closing up to the back of Monty and Josh, who have sort of been holding each other up throughout proceedings. Harmon made that pit stop. He was running in 2nd place and made that pit stop under safety car conditions to go to hards. Not due to damage or anything, and he's currently running in 13th and may well be regretting that, as he's currently in a whole heap of traffic. Looks like Twosome is leading that sort of group of cars round. It's as you were between the front 4. Ramazan is always just there in the background. He's not quite as close to the car in front as the others are, but he's just staying in that leading group. And Harmon looking to make a move further down. You can see him here side by side, and it looks like he's made it stick. Harmon over the inside of the Architect, trying to make hay on those hard compound tyres, and it just shows how quick he is in that he's able to overtake cars on soft tyres at this stage of proceedings. Soft tyres won't be going off just yet either, so... And look at it, and look at this already! He's absolutely round the outside of Luca. Luca can't do anything about it. Harmon's absolutely charging on these hard tyres. And now up to 11th place, and that will be a sad sight for Luca, who would have probably hoped to be running at the sharp end of this race, but just hasn't got the pace to do so. Let's go on board with Smalley, who has already caught up to the back of Josh, who himself has lost time to Monty in front, so I wonder if Josh has had a bit of a poor lap or something. Explain that sort of drop off in performance. Smalley with DRS open, then this is going to be an excellent opportunity. I don't think Josh will fight this too hard, to be honest, because he probably acknowledges right now that Smalley's just a bit quicker, and he might be best just to see if he can follow him. There may be some damage on that Williams though, as he nearly, I think he just glanced a wall there. Mosey and Alberto are into the pits on lap 10, as is Smalley, so some early pit stops going here. Attempt to undercut potentially on the current race leader, Raggy from Mosey and Alberto. We'll see how that one pays out. Does Mosey get some clear track? You can see Wrench, I think, that is coming down the pit straight. Is he going to get out in front of Wrench? Oh, yes, he is. But and he's going to, Wrench is going to slot just in between the pair of them. So that's worked out beautifully for the Alfa Romeo driver, but not for the Haas driver. Now Alberto needs to make this move, and quickly, because he can already see, look at just how much already that Mosey's escaping down the road. There's nothing that Alberto can do, but Wrench, I don't think he's going to fight this one too hard, and down the inside he goes into turn 13. And that is a good move indeed. Let's go on board with Raggy, who should be coming into the pit, you'd imagine, this lap to try and cover off the undercut attempt from a few of the guys around him. Who is sweeping corners. Some beautiful scenery around this Jeddah track. Towards turn 27 now, and you've got to imagine he'll try and respond to an undercut attempt straight away. And he does. He's into the pits. So Raggy pits. What does Ramazan do? Does Ramazan stay out, or does he pit as well? No, he pits as well. So just Josh who stays out. So Josh takes the lead of a race. Obviously with Raggy in the pits, he probably couldn't really afford to pit. And this is going to be interesting now. Let's go on board with Mosey, who himself is having... Oh, Mosey's actually been overtaken by Alberto. So that's really came out of nowhere, to be honest with you. But Raggy's just in front of a pair of them. So the undercut attempt has not worked. And wow, really difficult lap for Mosey. It looks like he had a 1 second lead on Alberto when I last left it. So Alberto's been on a charge and has made that move stick, and is now running provisionally P2 on the road. Ramazan still just behind him as he was. Josh leading away, but you've got to imagine he'll want to bin off those soft compound tyres at the end of this lap. They'll be feeling pretty worn at this stage. These guys looking to go to the end from here on these mediums. Oh, and Kev's gone for a spin. Kev has gone for a spin, and he's got to be careful how he recovers to the track. Thankfully, ghosting means it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But Kev goes for a spin. Aston Martin once again just not giving him the grip he wants. Raggy now on the back of Zach, and this is where potential problems could unfold for these guys as Harmon goes past Twosome. He's absolutely charging on those hard tyres, this Harmon. And if he's planning to go to the end from here, these guys, the likes of Raggy, Alberto, they're going to have to overtake him if they want to win the race. As Josh does indeed pit, as does Zach. So that removes an obstacle for Raggy. Actually gives him DRS as well, an attempt to defend from Alberto, who is absolutely charging. New fastest lap of the race, although that's quickly been taken by Smalley. First man into the 29s this race. Now let's go on board with Raggy as he closes up to back of Twosome. This is a move that he's going to have to make, and make as quickly as he can, because he'll know that he's under immense pressure here from the drivers behind. But this is a really good opportunity. But DRS is active on the Alfa Romeo as well, and that really means that he has no way of attacking. This is getting pretty desperate at this point. He doesn't want to provide an opportunity behind him for him to lose what is effectively the race lead at the moment, but he's getting so held up behind this Alfa Romeo to the point where there's nothing much he can do. But here we go. Has he got a chance here? Oh my goodness me, right along the wall. This is really brave stuff, and he does take the position. Really running the margins there to give himself a room he needed to make the overtake stick, and he's passed the Alfa Romeo driver. What's going to annoy him here though, as I think Alberto's going to have a much simpler time passing the Alfa Romeo than he did. Look at this, down towards turn 27. Oh, but I tell you what, Twosome's not prepared to give this one up, and this will help. And held Raggy and frustrate Alberto in equal measure. You've got two drivers going side by side in front. Harman trying to take the lead from Boss Wanted, but can't do so. And in fact, it's Raggy who's going to get involved and take P2 away from Harman. I don't know. Harman may look back on that gamble and think it probably wasn't worth it. He's already pretty much where he was when he made that pit stop now, and he's going to really struggle on these old hard tyres compared to the medium tyres that are around him. Luca with the fastest lap of the race. That's just what he needed, really, because he hasn't shown that turn of pace up to now, but he's on the soft tyres, running down in 15th at the moment. You get the feeling any sort of points he can take from this, he'll be happy with. Mosey's struggling, and I tell you why Mosey's struggling is because he hasn't got a front wing on the front of his Alfa Romeo. Oh, absolute disaster. We've mentioned before how quick he can be in qualifying and in certain parts of the race, but yet again, for a reason we don't know too much about, whether it's another driver he's had contact with or he's gone to war on his own, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't come together on race day, and that's a real disaster for Mosey. Alberto right behind Harman. He's going to go. Oh, that's a really tight one. Raggy takes the lead off Boss Wanted, so Raggy's back where he was into the race lead, and he's now got two cars between himself and Boss Wanted, as Harman's going to go the inside of Boss Wanted. This is not what Alberto needs. He's got two cars just slap bang in his way. You can see the Williams disappearing up the road. He's going to need to make an overtake here. This is absolutely crucial to his race. He's going to have the outside line, but he's been covered off by Harman. Alberto goes to the inside and makes it stick. He's up into P2, and that is a really, really crucial move. He's a second behind Raggy, but it could have been so much worse if he'd been stuck behind those cars any longer. Oh, and Harman's gone. Harman has spun. It's more pain for Aston Martin. Harman reversing onto the track. He's got to be careful. Thank goodness he ghosted. Oh, it's all gone wrong for Harman, and I still do not really understand that gamble. Maybe he did have damage, it didn't get repaired, but yeah, not really sure about that one for me. Smalley's back up to 5th. I think he believed he passed Monte on the road in the last lap or two. Monte, maybe we'll try and fight back here. We'll go on board with this one. Penalties galore, but it's gone wrong for Aston Martin, really. Harman will be frustrated. So really, the running order for the top sort of 7 is correct, with the exception of Boss Wanted, who hasn't pitted yet. Apart from that, it is as you were. And here comes Monty. He fancies a look at Smalley, but just runs out a straight before he gets down to the final corner. These guys are quickly catching up to the AlphaTauri pair. Ramazan isn't going very quickly since he got past, and he's into the pits. Has he got damage? He must have some damage on the AlphaTauri, so he's hit the wall somewhere, or maybe had contact with his temporary teammate for tonight, Boss Wanted. But either way, oh, it's gone wrong for Ramazan. He was having a great race, just sort of hanging back from the main part of the lead group, but it's all gone pear-shaped, unfortunately, for him. And Alberto is already just half a second behind the race leader. He's absolutely loving it today. Super quick driving. He's just been, ever since he got on his medium tyres especially, he's been absolutely putting the lap times in and putting the pressure on the cars in front, and he can now potentially believe there's an opportunity for him to win this race. There's such a gap behind now to the next car, which is really involved in the lead battle, which is Smalley. But really, his job now is to probably fight against Monte, if anything. He needs to clear Boss Wanted quickly, because he's going to be losing even more time to the leading pair. But when you've got a 21-point lead in the championship, you probably don't want to take as many risks as you maybe would do normally. Particularly knowing that his main championship contenders, one of them's out of the race and the other one's down in 12th at the moment. And here we go, Smalley makes the move. Boss Wanted not really fighting that too hard. Monty follows suit. Boss Wanted down to 5th. But you can see there, 4.5 seconds off the leading pair, who are about to fight it out for the race lead, I believe. Here comes Alberto. Oh, he didn't thought about a move up the inside, but just didn't really think it was at the right time to do so. But Raggy's clearly under pressure, you can tell that. Boss Wanted pits now, so he will drop down the field. Can really tell that some drivers are just not as comfortable with this track as what they were at Austria. The field spread is a lot larger than we saw last week. But Alberto's been super impressive on this stint and is just putting all the pressure on Raggi, who has led the race since the very beginning. At one point he did lose the lead, but he got it back, and since then he's been absolutely not comfortable up front, but he's looked pretty assured. You haven't seen many mistakes from him. Alberto to this point, his best result was in Monaco, another street circuit, but it was only 5th, so it is a bit of a shock really. This pace has kind of come from nowhere. And you can see Raggi there really pushing the limits on track limits in his attempts to pull away. This has been a better lap for Alberto though. Boss Wanted after his pit stop rejoins in P12 and he's actually fighting with Luca. So we're going to go on board with this. Boss Wanted did do a fastest lap earlier, but Boss Wanted on fresher soft tyres now. We'll be looking to get the hammer down. They're both just behind Sick Boy on medium. C sense this could be a very interesting three-way fight here for what is currently the final points paying position. And Luca right round the outside of Sick Boy into turn 27, the final corner. Definitely the most favourable overtaking spot that we've seen so far. That and turn 1. It'll be interesting to see if there's any fight back from Sick Boy into turn 1. Boss Wanted will want in on this too, but Sick Boy, is he going to go for it? No, he has a look, but thinks better of it. Boss Wanted just looking for a bit of an opportunity if he can. Mosey does the fast lap of the race, just to underline how much pace he does have. Really, it's a shame that unfortunately he lost his front wing earlier on because he was running right at the front for a great deal of this race. Smalley making small inroads on the leading pair, but he may close in a bit quicker than that if he's going to catch him before the end. Of course, we've had the one safety car, but that was literally right on lap 1. Since then, it's been pretty normal. We haven't even had a virtual safety car, to be fair. We've had a couple of spins, particularly from the Aston Martins, but other than that, it's not been as chaotic as perhaps you would have expected it to be. Oh, look at that! That's way out of shape from Sick Boy. And I think he may have made contact with a wall there. I hope for his sake he hasn't got damage, but that was all out of shape for the Mercedes driver. He's got the DRS on Luca, which is just going to help him defend, but we've got action going on all the way through the field, and we've got action going on potentially at the front. Smalley, potentially, I think Monty may have had an opportunity to overtake there, but couldn't quite do it. We've got Boss Wanted now making his way through on Sick Boy, and Sick Boy's actually in the pits. I wonder, he must have got damage from that contact with the wall that we saw. Kev has decided oh, they've got a safety car. Kev has crashed out on the track, I believe. That looks like it's turn 21, I would say. And Kev has brought out a safety car, and well, this doesn't change many drivers' race, but I suspect we might see Harmon come into the pits, his teammate. And this closes everything up here, and this is good news for the likes of Smalley, Monty, Josh. It's not particularly good news for anyone who has a large amount of penalties, and we can see from that, well, Josh, Harmon, Zach and Boss Wanted all have 9 seconds worth of penalties. That's really going to cost them come the end of this one. And a few of the drivers with 3-second penalties, but it gets Mosey and a few of the drivers back into play, those that have had incidents earlier on in the race. Safety car out on lap 18, and Raggi does pit. Interesting decision. Oh, all the top 4 is on to pit, so they obviously don't want to finish the race on those medium tyres. I thought some drivers may go for track position. Well, if the top 4 are going to pit, then Harmon almost definitely is going to follow suit. But potentially, actually no, with the gaps that they've got, I suppose they've just looked at it and gone, with the gaps that they have, they don't need to worry about losing track position. Raggi retains the lead, so yeah, all makes complete sense now as to why they've done that. Zach and Boss Wanted stay out. They've gained positions from this. Zach up to 5th, Boss Wanted up to 6th. But yeah, everyone else coming into the pits, I suppose really, no brainer, really. Raggy retains the lead, but on fresh soft tyres, I mean, quick earlier on when we're on the soft tyre, so we just see if he can replicate the second stint pace in his final stint of proceedings. Interesting timing for a safety car. Bunches the field right up again. It may take a lap or two for everyone to catch up. We're on board with the race leader. We'll go off board with him just to have a look at the circuit. The safety car out for only the second time this race, maybe a bit less than everyone was expecting. But Kev bringing out the safety car, crashed on turn 21 by the looks of it. His teammate Harmon, I tell you what, it's probably worked out pretty well for him. I know he's got the 9 seconds worth of penalties, but if you take that out of the equation, the fact that he managed to get rid of those hard tyres and put on soft tyres, it's not worked out too badly for Aston Martin. I'm not for a second suggesting there's a bit of conspiracy, a bit of teamwork going on there, but it's not the worst thing for him. And really, you've got to say this race, if it goes to script anyway, will come down to a battle between the top 4, because with 9 seconds of penalties for 5th down to 8th, really they're not really going to play a part in this. It will be one of the top 4 that you would imagine that takes a victory here, but you never know, particularly around this track. Anything can happen, and you suspect there's going to be quite a few aggressive restarts here. Smalley probably won't be one of the aggressors. You know, he's in a very strong position at the moment. He doesn't need to win the race. Just extending his championship lead by doing what he's doing will put him in a very strong position. But he'll have drivers in front and behind who will want to get that victory. Raggy going for a 3rd win in a row. Alberto hasn't even had a podium this season. He's going for a potential victory here. Monty's first race as a full-time driver in F7 this season. He'll want to impress and get some good points too. He's actually got 10 points to his name already thanks to that podium in Zandvoort, but you know, we've got a lot of drivers towards the front here who will be looking for results here and will not have the championship in their mind at all. So, you know, Smalley's in a dangerous position here where he could have drivers go a lot more aggressive against him than he would like. Everyone's caught up to the safety car, so we should expect to see it in at the end of this lap. We're just at turn 13 now, about halfway through the lap. It's been a pretty eventful race. The lead changing hands on a couple of occasions. Leroy and Mosey both running towards the front and have had dramas that unfortunately have taken them either out of the race or just out of real contention for good points. Luca, who's poised to go potentially second or third in the championship, currently just outside of points at 11th. He will want to try and gain a few positions on this restart. Wrench up to 9th. Gotta say, Wrench had a really unlucky start by the looks of things, so for him to find himself in the points right now, he'll be super delighted with that, and he'll be keen to try and hold on to that position. Safety car is in as we expect, and we'll go across the line at the start of lap 21, and we'll hopefully have 5 laps of hard racing to the end. Safety car heading in, and we saw Raggy have one safety car restart earlier, and we saw that he didn't really go for it until pretty late on, and that did catch Mosey out to an extent. Let's see if he does a similar thing here to Alberto. At some point here he's going to absolutely power down and go. And here we go, he's gone. But Alberto was caught napping a bit then. We've got action further behind Monty. Looks to make a move on Smalley. Smalley looking to make a move on Alberto. Leaves the room. Alberto keeps second. Oh, Smalley looks for a way around the outside. He gets boxed out, and now he's going to lose the place to Monty. His teammate Zach looking on from behind. Smalley does not want to lose P3, and he doesn't. Ramazan has left the session. He's gone into the pits, but I don't know what's happened there. Raggy's had the perfect restart, got the lead he wanted. All the action was happening behind. And Luke has already made up 2 places, up to 9th, you can see further down there. We've got side-by-side action going further down. Boss Wanted looking potentially like he was about to attack Zach. He's looking in a strong position to do so here. Zach has got the oldest soft tyres on out of everybody, so he's going to be feeling the pain here. And potentially going to become very vulnerable to some cars around him. Bo's picked up another penalty. But if anything, Monty's had a poor restart. He's dropping away from Smalley. I don't know what's happened to Monty there. Hopefully he's not got damage or anything like that, but he's dropped away from this battle for P2. Raggy's still maintaining a 1.1 second lead, which is crucial, because it means Alberto will not have DRS when it gets activated. But it won't be Alberto that he has to worry about potentially. It will be Smalley, because Smalley goes down the inside into second. Josh has had problems further down. You can see a front wing flying off there in the background. Looks like Josh has hit problems. Harmon as well. Two drivers who have had good races up to now. Josh in the pits. Smalley maintains second further down the field. It's all getting a bit chaotic. Gonna go. Oh, there's plenty of side-by-side action going on here. The Mercedes going through. Luca losing a position to Sick Boy. It's all super bunched up here. And Mosey taking P11 from his teammate. We've got Yellow Flag in Sector 3. That's just Josh, who has retired, unfortunately for him. Oh, and we've got, oh, what's this, an Alfa Romeo? And we've got a drive off the road. Sick Boy's gone off the road. He must have damage because he's all over the place on the road. And that must mean, yep. Well, no, actually, I think Harmon and the Aston Martin's definitely got some damage. But it's all getting a bit chaotic from behind, and we've got a problem. We've got a problem for Zach now. He was one of the drivers running towards the front of the field, but he's had a moment off the track. Looks like a spin. And he's dropped all the way down to 15th. Luca dropping places as well. He had a good restart initially, but he's losing out now tremendously. And you can see there's some front wing damage on the right-hand side of his front wing, so that would explain his loss of pace. Oh, it's a real shame for him. And his championship hopes have definitely taken a pounding there. Not what he needed at all. Meanwhile, at the front, Raggy still holds the lead, but Smalley is just hovering around that DRS zone. So this race for the win is still on. A driver who won the last two races versus a driver that has the championship lead. It's coming down to this. And Smalley 3/10 quicker on the previous tour of a circuit. So he has got the hammer down in an attempt to bridge that gap as Wrench and Mosey. Looks like we're going 3 wide here down to turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? It's Architect going right around the outside. Is he going to get the line here? No, it's the Red Bull of Wrench all the way around the outside who gets the position. Architect gets a penalty, I think, in his attempt to avoid contact more than anything else. But Wrench, who struggled really all race long until that safety car, now finds himself up into P6 and potentially with P5 on offer due to the penalties the boss wanted in front of him. So that's gone tremendously well for him. And both Red Bulls looking on course to score some good points. We've got Yellow Flag Sector 3 as Zach. Oh, he was running in 5th at the restart, but some contact has unfortunately ended his chances in this race. And he becomes a 5th retirement of proceedings. Undoubted frustration there for the McLaren driver. His teammates not as quick on this lap by the looks of it. He's pushing to the absolute limit to get into the DRS of Raggy, and he may just have got it. You can see though he's running low on ERS. Raggy in comparison has got a bit more to spare, so Smalley is pushing this to the limit, but he's only got the 2 laps to try and grab this victory from the Williams driver. We're coming on out of the penultimate lap of proceedings, and in fact, if anything, Alberto's right on the back of the McLaren. Smalley might be about to lose P2 here, and he is. There's nothing he can do to defend that, as Alberto sets the fastest lap and takes P2 on the road. So it changes hands behind Raggy. He's still under pressure, but he's now got to worry about the Haas as well. So it's between these 3 for the race victory. There's no doubt about that. Can Raggy hold his nerve to claim a 3rd win in succession? Would be quite amazing, as Bo is out of the race. Bo out of the race. I want to see where that's at if possible. Oh, it looks like on the exit, a 3 and 4 potentially. Maybe some contact with another driver. A bit of an odd one, that one. Maybe the incident started further back. It would make more sense. But Bo was running in the lower end of the points, is now out of a race. There won't be time for a safety car. And Alberto has ruined his chances of victory. He's got a 3-second penalty, which probably takes off a whole heap of pressure off Raggy, as long as he can avoid doing the same. Alberto, in his attempt to push and take the victory, has crossed the limits and got a 3-second penalty, and as a result that will drop him down to 3rd place. In fact, Smalley going for it now with the DRS, takes the position. I wonder if Alberto's just thinking of just letting Smalley help him preserve that 3-second advantage he has over Monty behind to keep that podium, because there isn't really any need for him to fight these two, but in front of him now he's got that penalty. We're on to the final lap of proceedings here, and unless Raggy makes a mistake or picks up a penalty, you're finding it hard to see where Smalley's going to be able to pull this one off. The podium positions look pretty set as it stands at the moment, but anything can happen on this final lap of proceedings. Monty further behind in 4th, just hasn't been able to live with the pace. You wonder if he picked up a bit of damage, or if it's just struggling on the restart. I don't know, but either way, he will be 4th. There's pretty much no doubt about that, really, just because of the penalties around him. Wrench is looking pretty good for P5 here, which is incredible, really, considering where he was, and it'd be a double top 5 finish for Red Bull, exactly what they would want. But let's go on board with Raggy then. We're probably about halfway through the lap now, and it looks like he's got this one in the bag. We'll follow him round. He deserves the airtime. He's driven a faultless race. He did lose the lead on 1 or 2 occasions, but fought back to get it back tremendously, and you've got to say he's been the class of the field, and he's going to pick up a 3rd win in a row. And on this form, I know Smalley's going to have an almighty championship lead over him in particular, but you have to say, on this form, Raggy cannot be ruled out just yet. Here we go, and round turn 27 for the final time. Raggy has been untouchable here in Saudi Arabia, and he takes the win for his 3rd win in a row. The Williams team are jubilant. Smalley takes 2nd. Alberto will have done enough to take 3rd, even with his penalty. Monty 4th. Wrench, he deserves a bit of airtime as well for his brilliant drive, considering the circumstances he had earlier. Wrench takes 5th. Architect 6th. Twosome 7th. Mosey 8th. Boss Wanted in 9th. Will Harmon take the final point, or will it go to her 16 Rod? We're going to find out. I think her 16 Rod might just grab this one, you know. Let's look across the line. Yeah, he does. So Harmon, after all his work, unfortunately finishes outside the points. A quick look, can try and see the fastest lap. That goes to Alberto. No surprise there. Great lap, 28.5, but he just couldn't stay penalty free. So it is Raggy who takes the win. Smalley 2nd. Alberto will be disappointed with that penalty, but it is his 1st podium of the season. So he will be delighted with that one, and some real positives to take from him, because I tell you what, particularly on that medium tyre stint in the middle, his pace was electrifying, and he could have easily have won that race if it weren't for that late safety car, because he looked the quickest driver on the medium tyre. But it is Raggy that takes the win, and to be fair, you can't say fairer than that. He held his nerve. He was under pressure for a lot of that race, particularly at the last stages, and he just didn't pick up a penalty, didn't make any mistakes, and you cannot fault that. Smalley, I don't think he'll be disappointed with that. 2nd place increases his championship lead significantly. He's in a super position at the moment. A double top 5 finish for the Red Bulls. The Architect in 6th, Twosome 7th, Mosey in 8th. It could have been a lot more for him. Sadly lost his front wing in the middle part of the race, but he was running up at that front group for a long period in that one. Boss Wanted in 9th, and her 16 Rod takes the final point, and then Harmon 11th. Luca 3rd in the championship, a non-score for him, not what he needed at all. Sick Boy and Ramazan the final runners, and the rest unfortunately not classified. Alberto gets a fastest lap point, and in terms of a driver of the day for me, tough one really. There's a lot of good drives in there, but I'm actually going to give it to Wrench in the Red Bull. I thought he did a super job. I think he was running down pretty much stern dead last after lap 1 and the incidents that happened, but he recovered superbly, and you know, that takes a lot of credit, because I think in the situation he was in at the end of lap 1, a few lesser characters would have potentially just called it a day there and then, but he didn't, and he got his reward really with a top 5 finish. So Wrench will be my driver of the day, but plenty of great drives in there. Could have gone Alberta, could have gone with Raggy, could have gone with Smalley. There's a lot of good drives there. Anyway, that brings an end to proceedings really here at the F7 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Be sure to stay tuned into Premier Sim Gaming Leagues for the rest of the evening. We've got F1, the top PlayStation tier, just getting underway now, I believe. So be sure to tune into that. That's going to be absolutely tremendous. And just once again mentioning Grid Rival, a new Formula 1 fantasy league game that is sponsoring Premier Sim Gaming Leagues. And if you want to head over and join our league on Grid Rival, you can do so. It's in the description below. Just click on the link and that will take you there. But that's everything from me tonight, and I'll see you next week for the F7 Belgian Grand Prix. Same time, same place. We'll see you then. Goodbye.